Hi, everybody. I am back from my vacations, back to work, ready, ready just to be home and not living out of a suitcase anymore. I have been through so much, I feel like. First of all, I am in Arizona. We're experiencing a historic heat wave, and we had a beautiful May, a beautiful June, and for July, now that I'm back in town, so I've been back at least a few days, and the weather, it is really like, I know it's a dry heat, right? But you know when you are cooking something and you open that oven door and the heat just hits you in the face? When you walk out of your door, if you live here in Arizona or if you haven't been, it literally feels like you're opening an oven door and the heat hits you in the face. And I don't just mean like 90 degrees with humidity, which can feel awful for sure. I remember I was in South Carolina. It was beautiful, but the humidity, it was exhausting, that heat and humidity. But here, we're getting temperatures hitting 118, 119, literally baking cookies, right? I mean, you open the door. So what we've been doing is going swimming a lot. If we're going to do any kind of walking or bike riding or exercise, I usually wait until after 6 o'clock at night. I mean, the nice thing right now, we're not seeing a lot of mosquitoes, and we do have mosquitoes here now. We didn't used to, but we do now. And lots of wildlife around. In our neighborhood especially, we've seen the wild javelinas. We've got some bobcats, some mountain lions. I haven't seen any snakes lately, knock on wood. I used to see a lot of rattler snakes, but I don't know where they're hanging out. Thank God I haven't seen them. You have to be really careful because if you have an alcove in front of your front door, because it keeps the front doors cooler like we have, when you open the front door, sometimes you'll see a snake curled up in the corner. I've never seen that at our house, but I know friends or people that have had that happen to them. So you have to kind of be careful where you're stepping. The other day, I didn't have my shoes on and I was walking around, but it was light out. And something stung me, and it was like, oh my gosh, that was a baby scorpion. Why do I not wear my shoes outside? So, still love living in Arizona. I can't imagine living anywhere else, but these are the things you deal with when you live in Arizona. I know Florida, you're living with dinosaurs, basically. So, I wouldn't want to experience that either. But anyway, I did want to mention a couple things. One, about the weight loss. When I was in Hawaii, oh, you bet, I had a Dole Whip. I for sure did. And, we ate out a couple times and the food was amazing. So yeah, I came home 3 pounds heavier. I've already taken it off because I'm just being really careful being back here. So I'm still 10 pounds down and had some great vacations and enjoying life, and I'm not suffering at all. So I'm back at it with a vengeance because I have another goal in mind. So I did want to say, someone did bring up the point of, can you just kind of eat any fruit on Rule of 5, or, can you eat an apple? So when you look up apples, it's a small apple that counts as Rule of 5 because that's about 20 grams of carbohydrates, 4 grams of fiber, and that 4 into 20 would be 5, so Rule of 5. So if it's a small apple, fine. I know in the grocery store I've been seeing those really big apples. You could just basically cut that in half. Cut it in half and not eat the whole thing if you're being really serious. Sometimes because apples are so nutritious, so packed with vitamin C. I'll tell you a little quick story. When we were just in Hawaii, we did a hike it was called Moana Falls, and it was this beautiful rainforest where apparently the same island where they film many Jurassic Park scenes, and it literally looked like a dinosaur was about to come out. Like, just this beautiful rainforest we were hiking through until you see a waterfall. Well, I hadn't eaten yet that day because I was doing intermittent fasting, drinking a lot of water, and I thought I could do this. Oh my gosh, when we got to kind of the highest, or the point where there was a bench and you could see the waterfall and I sat down, I was cramping up and I was getting tingly, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out. So I told my family, you guys hike to the very top if you want. I got to head down. And I booked it. I head down as fast as I could because I thought if I stop walking, I will pass out. So I get to the car at the bottom, and I had an apple in my bag in the car. I ate an apple. I immediately felt better. I felt rejuvenated again. I don't know. I think an apple is nature's magic health elixir. I really do. There's just so much nutrition in an apple. But so, if you're active, I'm not worried about cutting the apple in half. I'm eating the whole big apple, and it was a big apple. But, if you're not really exercising yet, if you're not on that part of the plan, because I get it, sometimes it's easier to get some weight off before you're out walking or biking or whatnot, then just cut the apple in half if it's a large one. So that's a word on that. As far as other fruit, no, I don't think all fruit is free fruit. For example, I'll try to do more like blueberries or strawberries. And I try to avoid bananas because that's so great. If you're getting shaky and your blood sugar goes low, you eat a banana. I do love bananas when you get muscle cramping. It's great for hiking, having an apple and a banana, because again, it has all the nutrients you need to hydrate and not get muscle cramps. So, there's that. And so it's called glycemic index. You can Google fruits on the low glycemic index, or just Google low glycemic index fruits or foods, and you'll get a whole list, and that might make it easier. So, okay, switching gears. I did go to a 4-day medical conference, and integrative medicine. I'm a naturopathic medical doctor, so keep that in mind when I kind of talk about things. I was talking to another doctor about her opinion on how our profession, and really medicine as a whole, kind of handled the entire COVID situation. And we had a really good talk about that. And but one thing she said, oh, did you hear about, here's the good news. With Omicron, or the virus that was going around, I don't really know anybody with it right now. I know it's still circulating, though, because it just does. That it's a much weaker virus. It wasn't like the original strain. So that's the really good news. But there was a lot of talk about long haul COVID, people that actually were sick with COVID and still are just not where they were, and like how we're treating that and what we're doing. And she asked me, she's like, oh, did you know about the treatment of doing Benadryl or diphenhydramine and lactoferrin? And lactoferrin is found in things like cow's milk, human breast milk, things like that. And I said no. And then so I looked into it, and there is a research paper out of the Florida State University talking about how in the tests they were running that it pretty much stopped the replication of the virus. And I thought that was really cool. So on the way home from Hawaii, there was a gal coughing, like 2 rows ahead of us. Anyway, long story short, yeah, I was drinking a lot of milk and taking some Benadryl when I got home. I know in the study they weren't using like a glass of milk, they were using actual lactoferrin. But I just thought that was really interesting because no, I was not familiar with that. I was familiar with other treatment options and choices. And if you're wondering kind of my philosophy and take on that, what I've been doing lately and what I've been keeping up on, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Drew. Do you remember he had that show on TV? He had like a few different shows. Anyway, if you go to YouTube and you just put in Dr. Drew, he and another doctor, they're both medical doctors. Dr. Drew is an MD, and another medical doctor, I forget her name, she's on there too. So they interview a lot of different doctors and whatnot about, kind of what's going on with the data as far as like people having to go on disability, long haul COVID, and all that other stuff. So I've been watching them, and I think it's really interesting. And so there's that. I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, so that was the big talk at the conference is people with long-term effects from COVID, that they're literally still experiencing symptoms. Yeah. And, honestly, it's inflammation. And if someone kind of had already like underlying arthritis, or, obesity, or, diabetes, they already had like an inflammatory process, yeah, they're more likely to have more issues with long haul COVID. I think autoimmune problems, there's more to it. So it was just really interesting. So I just wanted to go into that, and I think as we learn more about it, there'll be more information out there, and maybe I can do a video that specifically speaks to that. Yeah, because even in Medscape, which is a very general medical journal that goes out to just traditional DOs and MDs, is talking about, recognizing and treating long haul COVID. Yeah. So anyway, I know that was a tangent, but it kind of circles back around again, because why I talk about, trying to eat rule of 5 and watching your sugar, because one, it helps with inflammation, helps with pain, it puts your body in a healthier state so you can deal with illnesses and viruses that are coming our way. And so that's why I'm really kind of passionate about getting as healthy as I can and kind of share what I do, because hopefully it's helping you as well. And if you have particular questions, I'm happy to answer them on the videos and whatnot. I keep them pretty general. I don't really go into like something you specifically should do medication wise, because that's practicing medicine over the internet. Not doing that. Anyway, so that was just to get you caught up. I'd really be curious to see if you're doing rule of 5, like how it's been going. If you have any tips for the rest of us, I'm going to try to keep posting daily again now that I'm back in town. So I hope you're having a great summer. See you on the next one.